Parasite, Gu, breeding longevity path, starting from the love-enamored Gu. By Thousand Lakes True Person. Chapter 161, Perfect Foundation Establishment, 600 Years Lifespan. I made it, I have successfully established my foundation. Zhou Sui didn't know how much time had passed when he opened his eyes, filled with immense excitement. He felt an earth-shaking transformation within his body. The first thing was his physical metamorphosis. Previously, he was only equivalent to a body cultivator in the early stages of foundation establishment, but now, his physical quality has been further enhanced, enough to compare to a body cultivator in the middle stages of foundation establishment. More importantly, his body is now flawless. All the scars left from previous battles and cultivation have been restored to their original state. The pill toxins that had remained in his body due to the intake of pills have also been completely expelled. At this moment, his body is as perfect as an innate form, without any defects. Undoubtedly, this is the benefit of a perfect foundation establishment, which completely refines the body and forms the innate body. He felt incredibly light, as if he had shed countless burdens. The speed at which he runs his internal mana is 30% faster than before. The mana is so pure. With a sweep of his divine sense, Zhou Sui also sensed in the depth of his Danshan Qi Si, 20 droplets of dark golden liquid mana flowing. Each droplet of liquid mana is incredibly pure. Each is definitely more than double the quantity of those cultivators who relied on foundation pills. You must know that most of the cultivators who have established their foundation in this world have done so by taking the foundation pill, so their liquid mana always contains various impurities. These impurities will have a significant impact on them when they form their core in the future. After all, during core formation, a cultivator must ensure that their mana is extremely pure, without any impurities. Any impurity will lead to a failure in core formation. If you want to successfully form the core, you'll need a precious core formation spiritual medicine to purify the liquid mana in your body in advance and expel all impurities, then only it will be successful. But now, Zhou Sui's internal mana is extremely pure, almost like a liquid without any impurities. In the sunlight, it can also radiate a glow, clear as a crystal, and translucent. This means, in the future when Zhou Sui forms his core, he won't need a core formation spiritual medicine to remove mana impurities. Even without using core formation spiritual medicine, his success rate will be higher than the average cultivator who have perfectly established their foundation. This is the advantage of self-directed foundation establishment. If you take the lead in one step, you will lead all the way. Not only the purity has increased, but the power has also increased several times over. Zhou Sui lifted a finger lightly. He saw a light burst out from his fingertip, and instantly hit the wall. The wall of the quiet room suddenly developed a shocking crater, with cracks spreading out, large amounts of rubble falling, and dust rolling around, all of which demonstrated the terror of this strike. Obviously, true yuan and mana are not in the same class. A drop of mana could easily crush the power of hundreds of strands of true yuan. Moreover, controlling mana can also make magic artifacts and spiritual artifacts several times more powerful. The power of talisman would also be even more terrifying. This is why foundation establishment cultivators are so terrifying. A single foundation establishment cultivator can easily deal with dozens of Qi cultivation nineth layer cultivators, showing an overwhelming combat power. The most important thing is that after advancing to the foundation establishment, one can manipulate spiritual artifacts to fly. As long as they fly in the sky, no matter how powerful the Qi cultivation stage cultivator is, they are helpless. Upon thinking this, Zhou Sui's thought moved, and his body immediately flew into the air. A vast amount of mana wrapped around his body from within, manipulating nature's spiritual energy and flying with the wind. It seemed as if at this moment, he had managed to break free of gravity. Of course, using such wind control skills require significant mana and thus, could not be maintained for extended periods of time. If one were to ride a flying sword or use some other flying spiritual artifact, they could conserve a great deal of mana, allowing them to stay aloft for longer periods and cover greater distances. My divine sense has improved tremendously as well. Zhou Sui noted to himself, realizing that his divine sense had considerably increased. Initially, his foundation establishment divine sense had a radius of 160 feet, an achievement that was comparable to the late stages of foundation establishment. Now, however, it had reached an impressive distance of 330 feet. Even the divine sense of a cultivator at the peak of foundation establishment could not match his. It was probable that even a pseudo-pill stage cultivator's divine sense would be no match for his own. The divine sense of an early-stage golden core cultivator merely reaches around 660 feet. He now already had half the divine sense of an early-stage golden core cultivator, which was indicative of his formidable divine sense. It's noteworthy that the usual early-stage foundation establishment cultivator's divine sense is merely 30 feet. It enhances to 50 to 65 feet in the mid-stage of foundation establishment. As for those in the late stages of foundation establishment, their divine sense can reach a distance of 100 feet. Of course, cultivators with inherently powerful divine senses may have a few percentage points more. But when compared to him, it's clear as day how wider the gap is. We can only say they aren't even on the same level. Excellent, this was all worth it. I'm glad I decided to reach the foundation establishment on my own rather than using a foundation pill. Zhou Sui was ecstatic, bursting into uproarious laughter. The benefits of establishing his foundation autonomously were truly extensive. Not only did it transform his body into an innate one, it also drastically amplified his divine sense. Even his mana had become extremely pure, free of any impurities. These were things that simply couldn't be achieved by consuming a foundation pill. Right, I need to check the virtual panel. Zhou Sui moved his mind, swiftly attuning to the bookworm and bringing up the data of the virtual panel. Host, Zhou Sui, cultivation, early foundation establishment phase, progress, 0%, lifespan, 24, 600, years. Aptitude, 6th stage spirit root, 33%. Swordmanship, 1st grade superior, 99%. Rune, 1st grade superior, 99%. 7th order formation, 1st grade superior, 99%. Pill master, lower class of 2nd stage, 95%. Phantasma transformation skill, minor accomplishment, 75%. 5 elements alchemy technique, great achievement, 25%. 7 apertures spirit secret, heart eye recognition, 65%. Fireball technique, grandmaster, 29%, wind blade art, practiced, golden light skill, practiced, ice frost skill, practiced, spring wind rain skill, practiced, lightning summoning skill, practiced. Obsession goo, lower class of 3rd stage, clone goo, lower class of 2nd stage, wine bug, lower class of 2nd stage, gold eating bug, lower class of 2nd stage, bookworm, lower class of 2nd stage, dream soul goo, mid class of 2nd stage, dragon elephant goo, lower class of 2nd stage, golden light thousand poison goo, lower class of 2nd stage. What? My lifespan is now 600 years, so I live longer than a gold core master. Promptly, Zhou Sui bulged his eyes, finding it hard to believe. While he was fully aware that advancing to the foundation establishment realm would significantly enhance his lifespan and had even felt the elevation of his body during the marrow cleansing vein cutting process, he had not anticipated that his lifespan would rocket to 600 years. Generally, an ordinary golden core master lives around 500 years. Even with the intake of some longevity spiritual medicine, they could live barely over 500 years, surely not more than 600 years. However, now that he was in the foundation establishment realm, he could survive for over 600 years. This was approximately equivalent to the existence of 2 mortal dynasties. Chapter 162, Numerous goo insects advance, 3rd stage obsession goo. Not bad. Zhou Sui was quite satisfied with the extension of his lifespan to 600 years. Apart from the breakthrough in lifespan due to his advancement in realm, the most crucial factor was the help from the dragon elephant goo. With the power from the dragon elephant goo, he was able to breach the limit of lifespan. And this is just the beginning. With each refinement from the dragon elephant goo, his lifespan could probably continue to increase, it is not yet at its limit. After all, the lifespan of a legendary dragon far exceeds that of ordinary people, it's not something a naturally short-lived human could match. The power of the goo insects has also increased, they have collectively advanced to the 2nd stage. Zhou Sui stroked his chin. Truth be told, for him, the advancement of the goo insects is the most important. The power each goo insect possesses is a trump card. Apparently, the advancement in his cultivation also led to an increase in the power of the goo insects on him. The two are mutually reinforcing. Every goo insect, after advancing to the 2nd stage, has seen a varying degree of power increase. Zhou Sui sensed a vast influx of information from the depths of his consciousness. These were messages relayed to him by every goo insect that had advanced to the second stage. It also allows him to understand the current situation of each goo insect. Firstly, the clone goo, after advancing to the lower grade of the second stage, could now produce even more clones. Back when he was at the Chi cultivation nineth layer, it could basically give birth to 9 clones. Now, having reached the lower grade of the second stage, it can produce 18 clones, basically doubling its output. If it gets to the middle grade of the second stage, that would be 36 clones. If it reaches the upper grade, it would generate 72 clones. It's safe to say that the increase is exponential. But of course, if that's all, it wouldn't be much of a big deal. More importantly, every clone birthed can learn various skills, techniques, and the 100 arts of cultivation on its own. Basically, the content and insights that a clone has learned can be transmitted back to the original body. Although the efficiency isn't as superior as the original body, as long as perseverance is involved, the original body can absorb quite a lot of content in time, allowing the original body to focus solely on cultivation. As for the knowledge of the 100 arts of cultivation, it can be delegated to his clones for handling. If that's so, isn't it the same as having an additional 18 brains, that can concurrently assist me in learning various knowledge? Zhou Sui was quite excited. Obviously, the purpose of a clone is not solely to gather information and go on adventures. They can also help him to learn. Its uses are infinite. Truthfully, there is a lot that he needs to learn. If he has more clones assisting him, his learning efficiency would increase, thereby leading to an enormous boost. Just as the bookworm has also advanced to the second stage, if coupled with the second stage clone goo, it'll be like a tiger growing wings. Zhou Sui clenched his fists. Clearly, the bookworm has also advanced to the second stage. Apart from an increase in the internal capacity of the bookworm which has expanded 100 times, allowing it to hold a mass amount of data, an even more important ability has emerged, which is knowledge transmission. With the power of the bookworm, one's knowledge and data can be relayed and shared with others, aiding them remember various knowledge and achieve a photographic memory. Originally, he could only employ the power of the bookworm for his own use. But now, any knowledge recorded by the bookworm can be shared with others. This means that his several Dao companions can also enjoy such benefits. Just like him, they can remember a large amount of cultivation knowledge. No doubt this will also facilitate the rapid improvement of his Dao companions' cultivation and their understanding towards Daoism. The wine bug, dragon elephant goo, golden light thousand poison goo, gold eating bug, dream soul goo, and so on, have all reached the second stage. Zhou Sui stroked his chin. Apparently, the abilities of these 5 goo insects have undergone significant modifications as well. The wine bug, having advanced to the second stage, can now brew second stage spiritual wine. Knowing that a pot of second stage spiritual wine is at least worth 5 middle grade spirit stones, it's worth 10 times a first stage spiritual wine. If he can mass produce the second stage spiritual wine, his money-making speed would be as fast as a money printing machine. In other words, the second stage wine bug is his money printing machine. With regards to the dragon elephant goo, which has also advanced to the second stage, it still produces a wisp of mysterious blood energy every month. However, the effects it brings to his body have surged by more than 10-fold. This greatly strengthens the effects of refining his body. Furthermore, the golden light thousand poison goo, which has advanced to the second stage, can now produce second stage extreme poison. Releasing just a tiny bit of this poison can kill a foundation establishment cultivator. It can even pose a threat to golden core cultivators. Even if it doesn't kill the golden core cultivators, it will certainly cause them a fair amount of trouble. With regards to the gold-eating bug which has advanced to the second stage, its abilities have naturally become much stronger. Both its defense and offensive power have seen some improvement. The gold-eating bug currently resides in its original red gold mine, and has basically bred 1,000 more of its kind. It's safe to say that it has formed, in essence, a gold-eating bug regiment. If they were to mobilize collectively, they could definitely eradicate numerous foundation establishment cultivators and become an unprecedented insect catastrophe. However, he only has 100 of them on him, the other 900 are kept in the red gold mine for breeding. After all, the appetite of 1,000 gold-eating bugs is simply too big. If he were to really keep them by his side, he probably wouldn't be able to afford their upkeep. As for the dream soul goo, it had already advanced to the second stage some time ago, therefore its evolution wasn't as drastic this time. But the goo with the most staggering evolution is the obsession goo. Because now, the power of the Obsession Gu has advanced to the third stage. Third stage Obsession Gu. Zhou Sui was conscious of the Obsession Gu deep in his mind. It was now covered in densely packed pink runes, as if it's entirely encased by endless love and passion. It is constantly emanating a pink aura. The pink aura seeps into his limbs and bones, flowing into every nook and cranny of his body. As a result, his appearance and body underwent a drastic change. This is the ability inherent to the newly born third stage Obsession Gu, the body of heavenly charm. The Obsession Gu is now constantly releasing a mysterious power, ceaselessly altering Zhou Sui's physique. As a result, his body emits a unique odor. This odor is the pheromone of a male human. This odor is scentless, no sense of smell can detect it. But it can be sensed. The moment a female cultivator stands next to him, she will unconsciously smell a captivating scent that is soul-stirring. After inhaling this scent, the female cultivator's goodwill towards him will greatly increase. It's as if they have fallen deeply and helplessly in love. Of course, this power doesn't increase his combat power in any way, it purely enhances his charm. However, this charm doesn't take effect instantly, but slowly and subtly. The longer one stays by his side, the more they will sense his charm. Even if it's a male of the same sex, they will inevitably develop goodwill towards him. Every gesture and movement exudes an irresistible charm. Chapter 163, Body of Heavenly Charm, Shaking the Immortal Mist Sect. Could it be that I'm really evolving towards a love saint? Zhou Sui blinked his eyes. He perceived the benefits the third stage Obsession Gu brought him. There was no doubt that the direction of this Gu insect's evolution was leading him to become a love saint, or perhaps a scoundrel step by step. Now that he possessed the body of heavenly charm, he feared that without having to use Gu on female cultivators, countless female cultivators would fall in love with him. The essence of romantic love, actually, is nothing more than the exchange of hormones. Obviously, the Obsession Gu had grasped this essence and begun to actively produce hormones. Fortunately, I can control this aura at will. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a love story, but a love catastrophe. Zhou Sui felt a little relieved. If a bunch of female cultivators swarm him, he would be unable to fend for himself. Honestly, he didn't want to have too many Dao companions. Having Dao companions not only meant benefits, but also responsibilities. He can't just abandon them after getting together. What would be the difference between that and visiting brothels? Therefore, if he were to choose new Dao partners, he needs to be selective. Several days later, only after thoroughly solidifying his foundation establishment cultivation and getting familiar with the power of the Gu insects, did Zhou Sui finally exit his meditation chamber and ended this period of cultivation. At this moment, Ji Binjiu, Mu Ziyi, Xia Jinjian, and Lang Yuexi were all waiting anxiously. They were aware that their husband's secluded cultivation this time was meant for advancing to the foundation establishment stage. Although they knew that he had the foundation pill and even if he failed, there shouldn't be any major issues. However, accidents can always occur in this world. So they were still worried. At this moment, they saw Zhou Sui, who had just exited from the meditation chamber, and felt a completely different aura around him, as well as a pressure that was a few times stronger. "My lord, have you successfully advanced to the foundation establishment stage?" Ji Binjiu asked joyously. "Yes, I have successfully advanced to the foundation establishment stage." Zhou Sui nodded. "That's great news. I knew my lord would succeed. I didn't expect you would succeed in foundation establishment at the first try." Mu Ziyi was very excited looking at Zhou Sui. After all, even with the help of the foundation pill, many cultivators still fail in advancing. Those who can succeed in one try are actually in the minority. Back then, they were also able to succeed in one try because of an exceptionally good foundation pill. If it was just an ordinary foundation pill, it would probably take at least 2 tries to succeed. "My lord, did you not use the foundation pill and instead reached the foundation establishment on your own?" As a golden core cultivator, Lang Yuexi felt an unusual mana fluctuation in Zhou Sui. This terrifying mana fluctuation was not something ordinary cultivators at the foundation establishment stage could match. "Yes, I had a feeling of divine favor before, so I tried to establish the foundation on my own. To my surprise, I succeeded in one go." Zhou Sui smiled slightly. "I didn't expect my lord to succeed in self-establishing the foundation. There's a promising chance for core formation in the future." Xia Jinjian commented profoundly. She had also heard that every cultivator who can establish the foundation on their own greatly increases their success rate of core formation in the future, at least by 10 to 20%. Every self-establishing cultivator is deemed as the seed for core formation. Regrettably, there are extremely few cultivators who can truly achieve this. She did not expect her lord could succeed. Don't worry, you all will definitely succeed in core formation in the future. I already said this before. In the past, you guys helped me through, now it's my turn to lead you. Moving forward together, that's what Dao companions do, right? Zhou Sui looked at his 4 Dao companions with deep affection. My lord. Upon hearing these words, Ji Binjiu, Mu Ziai, Xia Jinjian, and Lang Yuexi looked at him with seductive eyes, feeling deeply touched inside, as if their hearts were filled with sweetness like the taste of honey. Indeed, it was correct to follow this man. Not long after, the news about Zhou Sui's foundation establishment sped around like a hurricane. It quickly spread around the whole Immortal Mist sect, known to countless disciples. Especially the peak masters of the main mountains, they were extremely shocked. Haven't you heard? The husband of our sect master, Zhou Sui, has succeeded in foundation establishment. Somebody immediately spread the news. No way. Wasn't it said that Zhou Sui was only at the 9th layer of Qi cultivation? How did he advance to foundation establishment so quickly? Many Immortal Mist sect disciples were dumbfounded. They originally thought it would take Zhou Sui years, even a decade or more, to reach foundation establishment. Who would have thought that just after a few days back in the sect, he was able to successfully establish his foundation? Once you became a foundation establishment cultivator, no matter what grade your spiritual root was before, your status would see a significant increase. Even if one has a lower grade spiritual root, as long as one is a foundation establishment cultivator, they're a symbol of power. Remember, even those with a mid-grade spiritual root may not successfully establish their foundation. If an upper-grade spiritual root cultivator is unlucky, they might die on the path to foundation establishment. So, even if one has a lower-grade spiritual root, if they become a foundation establishment cultivator, they can still be a sect elder and rule a peak. After all, power is power. Even if their cultivation won't advance in the future, with the cultivation of the initial stage of foundation establishment, they can still suppress a region. I heard that Zhou Sui, being a second-stage pill master, has a large amount of good fortune. He successfully made a high-quality foundation establishment pill, and with the support of the third-stage spirit vein in Immortal Mist Peak, it's only natural that he would have a successful foundation establishment. Someone gave away this piece of information secretly. This guy's luck is simply too good. Before, he was just a loose cultivator. After gaining the favor of the sect master, he skyrocketed and reached foundation establishment. And what about me? As a disciple of the inner sect in the Immortal Mist sect with a 5th grade spiritual root, I still can't establish my foundation. Is it great to be good-looking and vigorous, enough to gain the favor of female cultivators? Are there no women who value a man's inner qualities? Are there no golden core female cultivators who take a fancy to me and let me taste the bitterness of love? An inner sect disciple of the Immortal Mist sect was envious and jealous. He felt that the world was really unfair. He felt that his conditions were not bad, so why didn't any female cultivators notice him? Hehe, stop dreaming, they say that man is handsome, a hard-to-find pretty boy. Go take a look at yourself in the mirror, no woman would ever notice you with that appearance. A female disciple of the Immortal Mist sect scoffed. What the heck, are good looks really that important? I can also be handsome, I can also get plastic surgery. I heard that the Ghost Demon sect has a face-changing skill. You can change to look however you want. If a golden core female cultivator likes different types of handsome guys, I can change my appearance to theirs every day. The inner sect disciple of the Immortal Mist sect clenched his fists and seemed determined. You know nothing. The reason that man could earn the sect master's favor is not just because of his appearance. Would our sect master be such a shallow woman? I just heard that this man is proficient in a unique technique that women like. What exactly that is, I won't say. In any case, he has a Daoist name, called Heavenly Jade Daoist. A female disciple of the Immortal Mist sect said mysteriously, beginning to spread rumors. What? At these words, many Immortal Mist sect disciples were shocked, feeling like their eyes had been opened to a new world. Chapter 164, Foundation Establishment Ceremony, Equal Treatment, Gifts from Everyone. Not only was this matter known to regular disciples, but the senior elders of the foundation establishment stage in the Immortal Mist sect were also aware of it. After all, this had become the biggest event in the Immortal Mist sect. What? The loose cultivator actually advanced to the foundation establishment stage. How did he do it so quickly? I heard he had a top-grade foundation pill and also had a third-stage spirit vein. Naturally, he was able to advance easily. This kid is indeed very lucky. He's merely a loose cultivator with a lower-grade spiritual root, but the speed of his progression to foundation establishment is even faster than our sect disciples. At this rate, isn't the golden core a possibility? Enough of that. Given his lower-grade spiritual root aptitude, his cultivation journey is likely to be slow, like a snail's. I fear that even after hundreds of years, he might not be able to progress to the middle stage of foundation establishment. Even so, this guy has already surpassed a majority of cultivators. He's now on par with us. Damn it, favored by the sect master, he received all these benefits. It's really enviable. They say he's hosting a foundation establishment ceremony in 3 days. Should we attend? Do we even have to ask? This man is the sect master's significant other. Shouldn't we attend? Or would we want to offend the sect master? Indeed, we should prepare a gift so as not to disgrace the immortal mist sect. A series of discussions were held among the foundation establishment elders, their faces showing frustration. Truth be told, if an ordinary cultivator reached the foundation establishment stage, they wouldn't pay it much mind. If the relations were good, they would care. If not, they wouldn't. The problem was that, this cultivator who reached foundation establishment was the sect master's partner, a completely different matter. If they dismissed this matter, they might risk being dismissed by the sect master. After all, everyone knows that Lang Yuexi is the immortal mist sect's main authority figure. Not giving face to her partner equates to not giving face to Lang Yuexi. Women are the most petty. No one knows when they might step on Lang Yuexi's toes. 3 days later, Zhou Sui's foundation establishment ceremony was held in the Immortal Mist sect. Basically, all of the senior foundation establishment elders of the Immortal Mist sect attended. The grand scale of the event was second only to Lang Yuexi's sect master inauguration ceremony, showing the respect they have for Zhou Sui. At this time, Zhou Sui, together with Lang Yuexi, Ji Binjiu, Mu Ziyi, and Xia Jinjian emerged, which instantly captivated the entire audience. Through the refinement of the second stage Dragon Elephant Gu and the third stage Obsession Gu, Zhou Sui's bearing, physique, and appearance underwent a significant transformation. He was gorgeous, his demeanor impressive. His face was well-defined, with a jawline like carved granite. His distinct features were stunningly handsome. He had sharp brows and bright eyes, his face was exquisite. His aura was akin to a divine sun who descended upon the mortal world. Especially those black eyes of his, so pure they looked like amber, always manifesting a hint of innocence. It seemed that countless women adored him very much, wishing they could hold him in the center of their palms. Damn, is this guy Zhou Sui? Someone spread rumors that he was an unparalleled handsome man. I questioned how handsome he could be, but now I have to admit that I'm outclassed. He's practically on par with the true disciples from nascent soul sects. I initially thought that I looked pretty good, but compared to this pretty boy, my looks are simply pitiful. Ugh, you're shameless. With your monkey-like appearance, if it weren't for your foundation establishment cultivation, you wouldn't even be able to find a partner and you'd probably spend all your time in red light districts. Yet, you still have the audacity to add insult to injury. Shut up, where do you get off criticizing me? Aren't you also crooked, with your messy hair, dirty face, and beady eyes, appearing more like a ghost than a human? And yet you have the nerve to judge me. No wonder sect master fell for him. If this guy were a woman, she might very well be a dangerous seductress. This kind of flawless beauty isn't achievable through disguises. It's purely a gift from heaven, complete and natural, as if blessed by some kind of divine charm. I heard the lad has a nickname, Heavenly Jade Deist, which pleases the sect master. Able to adapt to his circumstances as well as being flexible, that's what a real man is. Truly well-deserved reputation. How could he stand out among the multitude of loose cultivators if he didn't have this ability? Many foundation establishment elders communicated through divine consciousness transmission. Because using divine consciousness transmission, others can't hear their conversation, and the sect master isn't aware of what they're discussing. They can also exchange information secretly. This was the first time they were seeing Zhou Sui in person and were astonished one after another. If this lad also had an upper-grade spiritual root, he might have become a true disciple of the sect. But even so, this pretty boy is now a foundation establishment cultivator and can stand shoulder to shoulder with them. At this moment, Lang Yuexi was introducing these foundation establishment elders of Immortal Mist sect to Zhou Sui. My dear, this is Shueqi Yang, the reward and punishment hall master, at the middle stage of foundation establishment. This is Luo Dingtian, the refining equipment hall master, at the late stage of foundation establishment. And this is Ma Qianjun, the peak master of pill medicine peak, at the late stage of foundation establishment. This is Chong Lei, the gold symbol peak master, at the middle stage of foundation establishment. This is Yao Wen, the array peak master, at the late stage of foundation establishment. This is Ji Heidao, the scripture hall master, at the late stage of foundation establishment. Immediately, these important figures of the Immortal Mist sect were introduced one by Lang Yuexi. Besides, there were also some guest foundation establishment elders. Though they didn't count as core figures of the Immortal Mist sect, they were invested in it and held important positions. They were all considered the mainstay of the Immortal Mist sect. Just the foundation establishment cultivators in the Immortal Mist sect alone already totaled 186. If it were not for the war with the Ghost Demon sect, costing the lives of many foundation establishment cultivators, the number of cultivators at the foundation establishment stage in the Immortal Mist sect would probably exceed 200. This alone was proof of the depth of the Immortal Mist sect. Other foundation establishment families only have 1 or 2 foundation establishment cultivators, but the Immortal Mist sect has more than 100. It's equivalent to the sum of more than 100 foundation establishment families. One can imagine the profound strength of the Immortal Mist sect, which is definitely extraordinary. Greetings to all fellow deists. Zhou Sui nodded, feeling awestruck. If he were still a loose cultivator, where would he have the opportunity to meet these foundation establishment big shots? Chances were that he couldn't even meet them face to face. And even if he did, he risked making them angry, which in turn could cost him his life. But now? These mighty figures of the sect who held their heads high, were waiting in front of him to offer gifts. They were all bowing and scraping, meek and deferential. The rapid changes in the world were really shocking. Of course, he also knew that the reason for these foundation establishment elders behaving so nicely was not his advancement to the foundation establishment stage. It was purely because his partner was a golden core master and the sect master of the Immortal Mist sect. In light of this, everyone naturally behaved well, spoke kindly, and it felt like their words were sweet as honey. They were not showing respect to him, but to the golden core master. Thinking of this, his momentary sense of pride was replaced by a swift return to calm. In the world of cultivation, ultimately, power decides everything. Without power, everything is an illusion. Chapter 165, Strange Deist Title, King Mu Sect Master, Lin Yazhu. This time, the foundation establishment ceremony was a resounding success. Both hosts and guests were generally pleased. After all, no fool would dare to cause a rookiness in the presence of a golden core master. Of course, Zhou Sui's appearance also became the focal point of everyone's attention. His reputation had swept throughout the sect, known by countless disciples. Because as the Golden Core Master's Dao partner, he naturally attracted attention. Oh my god, this time I finally met the sect master's Dao partner. Just as the rumors say, he has striking features, a temperament above the mundane, and eyes as pure as a child's. Honestly, if he weren't the sect master's Dao partner, I'd think he was a Chu man. A female cultivator from the Immortal Mist sect gushed dreamily. The moment she saw Zhou Sui, her heart started throbbing, and she finally understood what love at first sight was. She fell for him instantly, without any reason. Bloody hell, are you insane? This TM is a Chu man, don't you know that this guy is also known as Heavenly Jade Deist? The sect master has already had her way with him countless times. A male disciple from the Immortal Mist sect was rendered speechless. He was handsome and distinguished, but had not seen so many female cultivators smitten over him. Now, one by one, the female disciples of the Immortal Mist sect had begun to fall for that pretty boy. There was no way to reason this out. He was filled to the brim with jealousy, not knowing how much bitterness welled up in his heart. It was pure envy. Even if that's the case, I believe Elder Zhou had no choice. You're right, just by looking at Elder Zhou's demeanor, I can tell there must be a story behind all of this. You can't blame Elder Zhou for this, after all, he's only a loose cultivator. Back in the day, he was only at the Qi cultivation stage, how could he possibly resist the power of the sect master? Exactly, if you were to face a golden core master, you'd probably kneel faster than anyone else. You dare to look down on Elder Zhou, but you don't even reflect upon your own behavior. A few female disciples from the Immortal Mist sect scoffed, looking down upon the other male disciples. They felt that Zhou Sui's submission to the sect master Lang Yuexi must have been for a reason. After all, who could resist the strong extraction from a golden core master? Damn it, he already has 3 Dao partners, even before he met the sect master. You still claim he had no choice, but this guy is naturally a soft rice man, you know. Just to please female cultivators, this pretty boy will stop at nothing. You all need to see this guy's true colors. A male disciple from the Immortal Mist sect was pissed off. He felt these women were being unreasonable and had no clue what they were thinking. It was clear he was a freeloader, but so many women were infatuated with him. So what if he has 3 Dao partners? For an exceptional man like Elder Zhou, even having 30 Dao partners is not excessive. To be honest, if I weren't afraid of upsetting sect master, I'd want to marry Elder Zhou as a concubine. Tisk, you have the audacity to think of becoming Elder Zhou's concubine. At best you would just be a maid to wash feet. Even being a foot washing maid isn't bad, at least I'd be close to Elder Zhou. The many female disciples of the Immortal Mist sect were chattering, showing dreamy expressions. Seriously. Hearing these words, the male disciples of the Immortal Mist sect didn't know how to respond. They silently thanked their lucky stars. Thankfully, this pretty boy was the sect master's Dao partner. If he were an inner sect disciple, all the female cultivators would have been swept away by him. And they would have to spend their days wandering in brothels, unable to find a Dao partner. Of course, this event was not only spread throughout the Immortal Mist sect. Even the King Mu sect, Danding faction, Ghost Demon sect, Yellow Maple Valley, etc., had gotten wind of it. At this very moment, in the King Mu sect, a towering mountain peak surrounded by towering ancient trees, filled with a strong etherwood aura, was perfect for wood-based cultivators to live in. At this time, an exquisitely beautiful woman sat cross-legged atop the peak. She wore a tight green dress outlining her perfect figure, her temperament elegant and serene, like a fairy unsoiled by the earthly world. She was the King Mu sect master, Lin Yazhu, a late golden core cultivator, who was 300 years old. She was the strongest in the King Mu sect, even surpassing Elder Song Fi Hung. Moreover, Song Fi Hung was already 480 years old, and was only in the middle of the golden core stage, nearing the end of his life. One could say that Lin Yazhu was the greatest prodigy the King Mu sect had seen in a millennium, possessing a first-grade spiritual root. Master. At this moment, another woman clad in a long purple dress flew up. She was Zhang Shui, Lin Yazhu's direct disciple, a mid-stage foundation establishment cultivator, over 80 years old and with a third-grade spiritual root. What's up? Sect Master Lin Yazhu of the King Mu sect opened her beautiful eyes, emanating a profound aura unique to Golden Core Masters. Master, recently a major event has occurred in the Immortal Mist sect. The newly promoted Golden Core cultivator of the Immortal Mist sect, Lang Yuexi, took a Dao partner by the name of Zhou Sui. Previously he was just a loose cultivator. However, with Lang Yuexi's help, he was able to make it in time for his foundation establishment and has already held his foundation establishment ceremony at the Immortal Mist sect. Zhang Shui said in a serious tone, recounting Zhou Sui's affairs. Zhou Sui? Lang Yuexi's Dao partner. Interesting. A mere loose cultivator can actually catch Lang Yuexi's eye. Lin Yazhu raised her brow. I heard this man is very handsome, has a transcendent temperament, and is fair and handsome. And he's proficient in certain peculiar methods that won over the heart of Sect Master Ling. Zhang Shui looked queer, seemingly recalling the various rumors she had heard. But how could she relay these rumors to her master? It'd be like polluting her master's ears. Absurd, a true Golden Core master wouldn't be deceived by mere appearances. This Lang Yuexi is considered one of the greatest prodigies in the history of the Immortal Mist Island. She achieved core formation at just 80 years old. I was around 120 when I barely managed to succeed. And that was with the full backing of the King Mu sect. But Lang Yuexi, even while being hunted by the Ghost Demon sect and afflicted by severe poison, succeeded in core formation. This is enough to prove that this woman's talent and will are at the peak. If she continues at this rate, it's not impossible for her to achieve nascent soul. Sect Master Lin Yazhu of the King Mu sect spoke in a solemn tone. What? Hearing these words, Zhang Shui was taken aback. She didn't expect her master to rate Lang Yuexi so highly. Well, since they are Dao partners and successfully established foundation, and as allies, we naturally need to send a gift. Send 3 bottles of etherwood pills as a congratulatory gift. King Mu Sect Master Lin Yazue said. Yes, Master. Zhang Shui nodded. Etherwood pills were second-stage pills, especially suitable for foundation establishment cultivators to enhance their monocultivation. They were quite valuable. Although it wasn't much for a golden core master, for a cultivator who had just advanced to foundation establishment, these pills were already quite good, and came just in time. Chapter 166, Shen Baiqian, the sect leader of Danding faction. The Danding faction. They were in the middle of a vast red mountain range, nestled within a third-class, high-grade terrestrial fire spirit vein. The founding sect leader of the old Danding sect took a liking to this terrestrial fire spirit vein, as it seemed perfect for alchemy. They decided to build the sect right there. Resultantly, they created a sect that lasted 1,000 years. Over the last 1,000 years, the Danding sect continued to shine brilliantly. Every generation had produced a golden core master. Moreover, this third-class, high-grade terrestrial fire spirit vein not only facilitated alchemy, but it also enabled them to defend themselves. If their enemies tried to invade the Danding sect, they could summon the power of the terrestrial fire spirit vein, stirring up limitless spiritual fire, which would incinerate the enemies. It was like an impassable moat. Over hundreds of years, no foolhardy individual had dared to invade the Danding sect. Boom, rumble. At this moment, a loud roar resounded from the main peak. It was as if an explosion had occurred. Damn it, failed again. Is the third-class, high-grade pill, the Poya pill that hard to concoct? Where exactly did I go wrong? A clear voice, reminiscent of a lark, echoed from the thick fog. Then, a breathtaking woman in tattered clothing crawled out from the pile of rubble. Only disheveled cloths clung to her, offering tantalizing glimpses of her stunning figure. It was enough to make one blush and their heart race. Master! At this moment, a few female disciples, seemingly used to such sights, quickly stepped forward and draped a large coat over her. This incredibly beautiful woman was none other than the sect leader of the Danding faction, Shen Baiqian. A cultivator in the middle phase of the Golden Core stage, she was 230 years old and had a first-grade spiritual root. Simultaneously, she was the Danding sect's most outstanding alchemist, who had already reached the third stage. On Immortal Mist Island, there were only a few alchemists who could match her skills. Master, something big happened in the Immortal Mist sect recently. A female disciple immediately shared the latest gossip. Oh, what happened? Initially, Shen Baiqian was worried about her alchemy failure, but hearing the gossip, she was immediately intrigued and temporarily forgot her painful experience of failing at alchemy. Sect Master Lang Yuexi from the Immortal Mist sect just got married. Her Dao companion seems to be a loose cultivator with a lower-grade spiritual root. But with the help of Sect Master Lang, he managed to establish his foundation. Recently, they held a grand foundation establishment ceremony and invited all the same sect cultivators. The female disciple immediately relayed all the news she had. What? A Dao companion? That cold woman actually has a Dao companion. I originally thought she was like that old woman from the King Mu sect, single-mindedly pursuing the Dao, destined to end up alone. Unexpectedly, she actually found a man. Tell me, what's so special about that man to catch the eye of a reserved woman like Lang Yuexi? Touching her smooth chin, Shen Baiqian asked curiously. Master, it is said that the man is incredibly handsome, like a descended god. Any woman who sees him is likely to feel a flutter in her heart. But this is just hearsay, I'm not sure if it's true or false. The female disciple looked enviously at her well-endowed master and reported in a leisurely manner. Really? Even a woman like Lang Yuexi is smitten with him, how handsome must he be? If I were to snatch away this man, wouldn't Lang Yuexi cry? And cry really loud? Shen Baiqian's eyes brightened as if thrilled by the idea. Hearing this, the surrounding female disciples made bitter faces because their master was infamous for her audacious behavior and dared to do anything. When she was young, she even dared to pull the beard of a former sect master. Even as a child, she would pull spiritual medicine from everywhere, eating ginseng as if they were carrots. And as a youth, she nearly blew up a third-layer earth-fire spirit vein while making pills. As she grew older, she started to roam around, hunting down demon cultivators. At one point, she stormed into the headquarters of the ghost demon sect and wrecked the place. Even though she was just an alchemist, she had managed to integrate a powerful heavenly and earthly spiritual fire into herself. This made her combat abilities far surpass others of her level, and even if she encountered a late golden core stage person, she could still fight against them. During a massive battle against the ghost demon sect and other forces, she personally took action and killed a mid-stage golden core demon cultivator. It could be said that the witch Shen Baiqian had long been renowned in this region. She was even more demonic than the demon cultivators themselves. Haha, never mind, I was just joking. Lang Yuexi is my good sister, how could I possibly steal her man? A mere man is nothing compared to the thrill of making pills. Send me 3 bottles of the red fire pill. Consider it a congratulatory gift for her partner's foundation establishment. Shen Baiqian lazily said. Yes, master. Upon hearing these words, the several female disciples heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, their master did not do anything rash. Otherwise, a war between the Danding faction and Immortal Mist sect would not be a joke. Currently, the Danding faction had just gone through a major battle, and could not endure any further loss. The red fire pill was a second-grade pill. Its power was intense and ideal for foundation-building cultivators to enhance their mana. It was quite valuable. Also, it was the flagship product of the Danding faction and sold very well. But Shen Baiqian blinked her beautiful eyes, her gaze flickering uncontrollably, as if she had something on her mind. On the other hand, at the headquarters of the Ghost Demon Sect, sect leader Luo Hua was furious upon hearing the news. Damn that Lang Yuexi, she killed one of our golden cores. And crushed our alliance, thriving and flourishing, and now she has even become the new sect leader of the Immortal Mist sect. And now she even married a man, so rampant. It is clear that she does not take our Ghost Demon Sect seriously. Ghost Demon Sect leader Luo Hua was uncontrollably enraged. He was utterly sick of Lang Yuexi. Keep in mind that Luo Hua was a late golden core cultivator who was just 400 years old. If he could really crush the Immortal Mist sect, King Mu sect, and Danding faction, and obtain all 3 sects' resources, he and his abundant wealth could head to other islands. Surely he would be able to purchase materials capable of helping him form a nascent soul. If that happened, perhaps he could successfully form a nascent soul and gain a lifespan of 1,000 years. Originally, things had been going great for the Ghost Demon Sect, and they would have won without a doubt if not for the arrival of Lang Yuexi. Luo Hua's anger towards Lang Yuexi was so intense that he wished he could rip her into a million pieces. Now, he even hated everyone around her. He wanted to take revenge and soothe his anger. The master of the sect, you have to calm down. Right now, our Ghost Demon Sect has suffered heavy losses and we should seek time to recover. It's not appropriate for us to wage war with the Immortal Mist sect. If we fail, it will be a delight for our enemies and sorrow for our friends. The elders of the Ghost Demon Sect immediately tried to dissuade him. After all, if the rash sect leader Luo Hua fell into the hands of the Immortal Mist sect, then that would spell the end for the Ghost Demon Sect. Without the protection of the Golden Core Master, based on their level of cultivation, they wouldn't be able to defend such a large territory with their abilities alone. Their only option would be to run. Once that happened, they would be in for hard times. They absolutely did not want to see that happen. Chapter 167, The Millennium Legacy of Immortal Mist Sect, A Feast for the Bookworm. Rest assured, I'm not that stupid. Going to the Immortal Mist Sect would surely be suicide, wouldn't it? The Ghost Demon Sect Master, Luo Hua, spoke in a low voice. Although he was very angry at the moment, he remained mostly calm. Being a cunning strategist, he always planned before making a move. He would not go into action unless he was absolutely sure of success. That's good. Hearing this, the elders breathed a sigh of relief. They were grateful that the sect master did not act rashly. But just because I can't kill Lang Yuexi doesn't mean I can't kill her partner with ease. To my knowledge, Lang Yuexi survived the poisoning all thanks to her partner, Zhou Sui. It seems that this bastard possesses some antidote or spiritual medicine that saved her life. If it weren't for Zhou Sui, our Ghost Demon Sect wouldn't have suffered such a severe defeat. Luo Hua clenched his fist, his voice filled with hatred. He also considered Zhou Sui an enemy and wished he could kill him. What? It was this scoundrel who saved Lang Yuexi. I found it strange when Lang Yuexi managed to escape from Misty Cloud City. I knew someone must have helped her, but I never thought it was this loose cultivator. It's outrageous. This loose cultivator has grown too audacious, ruining our plans, he indeed deserves to die. Without this bastard, sects like Immortal Mist sect would have fallen to us long ago, instead of facing such a disastrous situation. The ghost demon sect's elders were shocked and furious. If Zhou Sui was here, they would surely tear him limb from limb. Sect master, killing that kid won't be as simple as you think. He's living in the Immortal Mist sect now, even staying with Lang Yuexi. Trying to kill him, I'm afraid it won't be that easy. An elder of the ghost demon sect said in a low voice. Foolish, if we can't kill him inside the sect, we'll lure him out. I don't believe he'll stay in the sect forever. He will eventually need to leave Immortal Mist sect to buy treasures and take care of business. Once we find out when he leaves the sect, we'll strike first and ambush him. I want Lang Yuexi to taste the pain of losing a husband. Sect Master Luohua gritted his teeth. Yes, Sect Master. Hearing this, the Ghost Demon Sect Foundation establishment elders all nodded in agreement. If they wanted to kill a Golden Core Master like Lang Yuexi, it would be nearly impossible. However, if they were to kill an early Foundation establishment cultivator, it would be child's play. What they were best at was assassination. If this person was caught off guard by them, he was bound to die. At this time, on the Immortal Mist Peak, the main peak of the Immortal Mist sect, Zhou Sui was unaware that his reputation had spread far and wide across the region, and that his name was known to leaders of many Golden Core sects. He had become famous far and wide without even leaving home. Of course, this was a fame Zhou Sui did not desire. My lord. These are all heritage jade records brought from the scripture hall. Most of these jade records are copyable and they include the 100 arts of cultivation. They range from first to third stage. You can read them as you wish and you don't need to return them. Lang Yuexi placed a large pile of heritage jade records in front of Zhou Sui. They were piled up like a mountain. Most of the heritage jade records of the Immortal Mist sect scripture hall were here. Of course, these jade records were all copies, not originals. These jade records could be copied countless times and were placed in the scripture hall for people to peruse. Only a Golden Core Master like Lang Yuexi would have the privilege and authority to bring back a large number of heritage jade records. If it were any other cultivator, they would require a large amount of contribution points to redeem for these records. But Lang Yuexi didn't need any contribution points, she could access them as she pleases. Everything in the Immortal Mist sect was an open book to her. Thank you. Seeing these heritage jade records, Zhou Sui's eyes lit up. He was very excited. He felt as if he had stumbled upon a vast treasure. These jade records were the product of thousands of years of collection by the Immortal Mist sect. It was like having the profound heritage and inheritance of a Golden Core sect. Other cultivators would need to work hard to get their hands on some of these heritage jade records. But now, he just had to reach out his hand and take them. This was the benefit of controlling a Golden Core sect. The benefit was so immense that it couldn't be described with numbers. But, my lord, can you really learn so much? If you spend too much time on the 100 arts of cultivation, I'm afraid it's not the best idea. This can greatly reduce your cultivation speed. Lang Yuexi curiously asked. After all, people's energy is limited, and time is limited, too. Most cultivators only focus on one skill, and that's enough. For example, she was not good at the 100 arts of cultivation, her talent lay in fighting. So, she mostly engaged in tough cultivation and had no plan to study other arts of cultivation. Most importantly, loose cultivators learned the 100 arts of cultivation mainly to make money and earn cultivation resources. But she didn't need to make money. As the owner of a 1,000-year-old sect like the Immortal Mist sect, which controlled a large number of resources and mines, she naturally earned an endless amount of wealth. All she had to do was protect the Immortal Mist sect. In return, she would receive a large amount of wealth. Don't worry, for me, these are just basic knowledge. I understand that cultivation is fundamental. The reason I'm learning so much is just to enhance my foundation. Zhou Sui smiled mildly. He wouldn't foolishly study them himself, but instead, he let the bookworm devour them. This would be sufficient. Moreover, this knowledge could enhance his understanding. To him, these heritage jade records and pills were similar, both were like food to him. All right then, my lord, you take your time with your cultivation. I need to start my own cultivation. Lang Yuexi nodded. As a Golden Core cultivator, she also needed to cultivate hard. In fact, the time of cultivation might even be longer than a Foundation establishment cultivator. This was the only way to advance to Golden Core completion before the time limit. Most of the time, cultivators were involved in hard cultivation, working to increase their mana. Ji Binjiu, Muzii, and Xiaojinjian were also doing this. At this moment, they were in their rooms, cultivating and studying various cultivation skills to enhance their own cultivation levels. In no time, Zhou Sui was the only person left in the quiet room. Alright, let's get started. Bookworm, eat all these heritage jade records. Transform them all into my knowledge feast. Zhou Sui was very excited. Who would have thought that knowledge feast would become a real thing? As long as he swallowed this knowledge, he would remember it perfectly. This was the power of the bookworm. Chapter 168, Condensing the First Hard Eye Recognition, Universal Identification Technique. Hey! After Zhou Sui fed the bookworm a heritage jade record, he immediately found that the enlightenment and time granted by the bookworm exceeded that of before by several times. At this moment, it felt as if he had the comprehension of a God-gifted prodigy. No matter what knowledge he was understanding, it was as easy as flipping his hand. All the puzzles and difficult problems he couldn't figure out before were solved at this moment. Right, I can take advantage of this opportunity to master the 7 Apertures Spirit Secret. There was a glint in Zhou Sui's eyes. He had possessed the 7 Apertures Spirit Secret for over a year but hadn't managed to cultivate the first hard eye successfully. Of course, this had to do with his lack of dedicated practice in this technique. After all, he had a lot of things to study and practice, such as alchemy, Insect God Sutra, and heart summoning technique, etc. No matter which one, it required a large amount of energy and time. But now with his increased understanding, he wanted to fully comprehend the first hard eye recognition. Rumble. In this moment, Zhou Sui sat cross-legged on the ground, mobilizing the power of heart in his body, and started constructing the hard eye. The hard eye recognition had reached 65% completion through practice over a year. It wasn't too far from total success either. Now, his cultivation had advanced to the early stage of the foundation establishment realm, and his divine sense had doubled. Plus, with the assistance of the bookworm. Hence, constructing the hard eye recognition became even simpler. Pattern after pattern began to be outlined by his divine sense, extremely clear, down to the tiniest detail. 66%, 70%, 75%, 80%. The speed of constructing the hard eye grew faster and faster, as that was simply improvement due to practice. In a blink of an eye, 3 days and 3 nights had passed. Boom! Suddenly, Zhou Sui's body and spirit shook violently, as if they had resonated with each other. When the last pattern line was drawn, the entire hard eye locked on its own, forming a perfect hard eye that wouldn't collapse and began to work on its own. So this is hard eye recognition. In an instant, Zhou Sui sensed a pair of illusory eyes emerge from the depths of his heart, presenting a dark golden color, and numerous mysterious patterns surfaced in the depths of the pupils. This was just like the most precise machine. One extra part or one less part would cause the machine to fall apart. Centered on his body, invisible power of heart spread out in circles. It was higher dimensional than the power of divine sense. As if it was a higher dimension of power, it infused into the void, silent and insightful. With this thought, he waved his hand and immediately took out a pile of things from the space inside the Gu Divine Bowl. These were all gifts received during the foundation establishment ceremony. Perfect to test the power of hard eye recognition. Etherwood Pill, second tier top grade pill, contains the pure power of ether wood. Consuming 1 etherwood pill can significantly increase the cultivation of a cultivator in the foundation establishment realm. The medicinal properties are gentle, and do not harm the cultivator much. Red Fire Pill, second tier top grade pill, contains the pure power of red fire. The medicinal power is extremely fierce. Consuming 1 red fire pill can tremendously increase the cultivation of cultivators in foundation establishment realm, but it can easily harm the meridians and body. It's fitter for cultivators with a strong body to consume. Ice Snake Sword, lower grade spiritual artifact, contains the power of chilliness. Once it's used, effects like freezing and slowing proof appear. Its speed is incredibly fast, just like a poison snake bite. Earth Bracelet, middle grade defensive spiritual artifact, can generate the power of earth to form an earth barrier that can withstand most of the enemy's attacks and slow down the attack speed and power of the cultivator. Concentrating Spirit Grass, second tier spiritual medicine, contains the effect of calming spirit and contains a slight increase in divine sense. It can help cultivators go into deep meditation faster. Suddenly, a series of information flooded into the depths of his sea of consciousness like a tidal wave. The information about the treasures on the ground appeared instantly, with nothing hidden. So this is the power of heart-eye recognition. It's just like an appraisal technique. Zhou Sui widened his eyes, thrilled, feeling an immense joy. Now he understood how the ancestor of the Lu family, Lu Hung Gran, became wealthy back in the days. The former was but a mere loose cultivator, but by virtue of the power of heart-eye recognition, he began to trade various treasures and materials, picking up bargains in the market. Just pick up one bargain and you can make a large fortune. In fact, the power of heart-eye recognition is too powerful. After all, there are countless treasures in the world of cultivation. But because of a lack of heritage, not everyone is able to recognize the value of these treasures. Moreover, treasures also have the function of disguising themselves, making them appear as junk metals. Even cultivators with an incredibly keen eye may not be able to detect this. But the heart-eye recognition is different, as if it's an appraisal technique that can check every unknown item. Even things never seen or heard before can be appraised. With this ability, he no longer fears missing out on various treasures. It's as though he's now the best appraiser. The principle of heart-eye recognition is to use the heart eye to listen to the voice of the object. Every object, although inanimate, still has countless bits of information remaining on them. These bits of information can't be detected by common cultivators. But heart-eye recognition is different, it can hear these pieces of information. So even if you've never seen the object before, you can easily identify the information about it. This is the power of heart-eye recognition. There was a flash in Zhou Sui's eyes. He could sense the power of this supreme secret book, the 7 Apertures Spirit Secret. Once successful in practice, it is as if creating a powerful spiritual body or talent. The help this would provide to a cultivator is obvious. However, to successfully practice this technique is extremely difficult. Probably besides the creator of this secret book, very few could successfully cultivate it. He was only able to cultivate this technique successfully through the help of the bookworm. If it weren't for the assistance of the bookworm, he probably wouldn't even be able to get started. The second heart eye is known as discernment. This heart eye is arguably the most powerful probing method. If successfully cultivated, the probing range of the heart eye's power is more than 10-fold stronger as compared to divine sense. What's more important is that the power of the heart eye, even cultivators and golden core masters can't detect it. Unlike the power of divine sense, which when diffused, will surely be noticed. Thus, the element of surprise is lost. Zhou Sui clenched his fist. He was feeling very excited. Just the first heart eye recognition was so amazing. If he could also successfully cultivate the second heart eye, then his auxiliary methods would be against the heavens. This was as though he had added a radar, capable of scanning various regions all the time. Without a doubt, his safety would greatly improve with this. Even if an enemy wanted to ambush him, it would basically be impossible. Chapter 169, The Ability of the Second Stage Bookworm, Appearance of the Nascent Soul Cave Dwelling. Crack. At this moment, Zhou Sui walked out of the quiet room in high spirits, his mood very pleasant. After all, he had finally managed to condense his first heart eye recognition, and now he was ready to proceed with the second one. Of course, condensing a second heart eye was not something that could be achieved overnight. So, he wanted to celebrate with his wives and concubines, sharing his joy. At this moment, Ji Binjiu, Mu Ziai, Xia Jinjian, and Lang Yuexi were also outside studying. In particular, the 3 ladies Ji Binjiu, they too had acquired a great deal of inherited knowledge from the Immortal Mist sect, through Lang Yuexi. This was many times better than the inheritance they had received on their own. How's it going? How do you feel? Zhou Sui was curious, watching the 4 women thinking hard. My lord, the second stage of rune learning is really difficult. I thought that as a second stage low-ranking talisman master, I should easily learn the second stage rune. But now it seems that I have overestimated myself. Purple Yan pulled a bitter face. The difficulty of the second stage formation has increased more than 10 times. Before, I had also received the inheritance of the second stage formation, but the Immortal Mist Sex is much more comprehensive. If you want to learn, without more than 100 years, it is simply impossible. No wonder second stage array masters are so rare, it's really too difficult. Xia Jinjian also strongly agreed. What they had learned before was only the basics. Only upon stepping into the second stage do they understand its difficulty. And the closer they get to the end, the difficulty increases exponentially. Really? Let me help you guys. Zhou Sui smiled slightly, pointed light and instantly pointed at Mu Ziyi and Xiaojinjian. Whoosh! All knowledge about the second stage runes and formations, like a tide, instantly seeped deep into their sea of consciousness. It was as if text from books had been shoved directly into their brains. And this is the ability gestated by the second stage bookworm, knowledge transfer. It can pass on their stored knowledge to anyone in a way that they cannot forget. A moment later, Mu Ziyi and Xiaojinjian widened their beautiful eyes in disbelief, staring at Zhou Sui. My God, my lord, what have you done to us? Yes, I feel like I've retained all the knowledge of the second stage runes. Though I haven't yet fully grasped it, it's already so much better than before. Mu Ziyi was dumbfounded, her first time feeling this incredible sensation. It was as if the knowledge was shoved directly into her brain, helping her digest it whole, which was simply incredible. Me too, a lot of knowledge about second stage formations has been imbued. It's as if I've been studying formations for decades. Xiaojinjian also nodded in agreement. At this time, Ji Binjiu and Lang Yuexi were also looking at Zhou Sui with great confusion. Haha, this is a secret technique I have. It can directly imbue the knowledge I've learnt onto others. And once the knowledge enters the brain, it won't be forgotten. This will greatly save your time in memorizing. It can even enhance your comprehension to a certain extent. Zhou Sui explained. No wonder my lord, you need a lot of inherited knowledge from the Immortal Mist sect. Is it because you have mastered this kind of secret technique? Lang Yuexi suddenly understood. She now had a slight grasp of why her husband learned so much. It turns out he had mastered such an incredible secret technique. This is too strong, it goes beyond a secret technique, it can be called an immortal technique. Ji Binjiu looked at Zhou Sui with a face of admiration. Even if Zhou Sui claimed to be an immortal descending to earth now, she would not have any doubts. Both of you excel at combat, but not the 100 arts of cultivation. How about this? I will impart a large amount of knowledge about the secret techniques of swordsmanship, the secret books of martial arts, and information about skills, all to you. Even if you do not practice them, you will gain some understanding of this knowledge. Who knows, it might increase your combat prowess. Zhou Sui touched his chin, pointing lightly, invoking the power of the bookworm. Immediately, an immense amount of information instantly immersed Ji Binjiu and Lang Yuexi in the depths of their sea of consciousness. This seemed like countless virtual books, merging into their souls. They too sensed a vast amount of knowledge appear in their minds out of thin air. This. Ji Binjiu and Lang Yuexi were both overjoyed. They felt for the first time that learning was a pleasant thing. They didn't need to read books, the knowledge naturally imprinted on their minds. Without a doubt, this must be an immortal technique. Otherwise, such an unthinkable thing would not be possible. Enough, come and join me in the hot spring. These past few days of cultivation have worn me out. Zhou Sui called out. The facilities in Immortal Mist Peak were nearly all-encompassing, the hot springs were just one of them. Yes, my lord. Upon hearing this, the faces of Ji Binjiu, Lang Yuexi, Mu Ziyi and Xiaojinjian turned red, their seductive eyes like silk, they followed Zhou Sui into the hot springs for a bath. Naturally, they made merry that evening, not sleeping until dawn. Several days later, Zhou Sui originally thought that he would be able to cultivate peacefully in the Immortal Mist sect, progressing from the initial stage of foundation establishment, to the middle stage, late stage and even the Golden Core realm. But soon, shocking news arrived. In a newly discovered copper mine, an enormous nascent soul cave dwelling had been excavated. This nascent soul dwelling covered dozens of miles in radius, forming a massive fourth-order formation. When this nascent soul dwelling emerged, it instantly radiated light for 3,000 miles. This caught everyone's attention. Various Golden Core sects and Golden Core families were all alerted by this news. After all, in a complete nascent soul dwelling, no one knew what kind of treasures it held. Even a Golden Core master would be tempted by it. My lord, this nascent soul dwelling is not simple, it belonged to the Blood Shadow ancestor, who dominated the Immortal Mist Island 3,000 years ago. Lang Yuexi spoke solemnly. She had inspected the nascent soul dwelling and carefully studied the prohibition array inside, immediately recognizing the origin of the cave dwelling. After all, the ancestral figures who achieved nascent soul on Immortal Mist Island were few and far between. Each of them was known by name and left a traceable legacy. Blood Shadow Ancestor? What's special about him? Zhou Sui asked curiously. To some extent, the Blood Shadow Ancestor is one of the culprits that led to the decline of our immortal mist sect. Lang Yuexi clenched her fists. 3,000 years ago, this Blood Shadow Ancestor wreaked havoc on the immortal mist island, wantonly slaughtering. Countless cultivators were brutally killed by him. Any cultivator who fell into his hands was sucked dry of blood and killed. Our nascent soul ancestor of the immortal mist sect personally tried to capture this demon to eradicate the hazard, but the Blood Shadow Ancestor's speed was too fast, escaping capture time and time again. Chapter 170, Blood Shadow Ancestor's Cave, the Center of Chaos. At this point, Lang Yuexi paused, then continued, finally, our nascent soul ancestor of the immortal mist sect called upon several comrades. Through a trap, they lured the bloody shadow ancestor into it, and finally severely wounded him. But even so, the bloody shadow ancestor didn't die. He managed to escape from the trap, but following this battle, he completely disappeared. What happened to him afterwards is a matter of speculation. Some say the bloody shadow ancestor fled, taking refuge on other islands. Considering the vastness of the Kanglan Sea, he could have hidden on any island. Others claim the bloody shadow ancestor died as his injuries were too severe. He died en route, but no one can locate his corpse. But unexpectedly, after 3,000 years, we have found the cave where the bloody shadow ancestor retreated to before his death. It seems he did not escape from Immortal Mist Island and remained on the island instead. Unfortunately, his injuries were too severe, and he hid inside his cave to heal. In the end, he perished. This was indeed the fate of a notorious demon. She explained the entire story, revealing the origin of the bloody shadow ancestor. Was it this bloody shadow ancestor that caused the decline of the immortal mist sect? Zhou Sui curiously asked. That's unclear, but the bloody shadow ancestor did bring immense harm to the immortal mist sect. Many true disciples perished at his hands. After that battle, the immortal mist sect began to decline. Even the nascent soul ancestor of the immortal mist sect passed away not long after. We are unsure about why the fourth stage spirit vein of Immortal Mist Island collapsed. Lang Yuexi said, seeming rather helpless. After all, these events happened 3,000 years ago, and many details weren't recorded. Therefore, it's challenging for future generations to understand the reasons and consequences. So, what could be the consequences of the appearance of the bloody shadow ancestor's cave? Zhou Sui asked. I fear that all the Golden Core Masters of the Immortal Mist Island will flock here. After all, the bloody shadow ancestor was indeed infamous, and any long-established power would be aware of his existence. Most importantly, he pillaged many clans on Immortal Mist Island in the past, seizing countless treasures. Nobody knows what valuable items might be in his cave. If some items were found that could aid in the formation of a nascent soul, it would drive countless Golden Core Masters mad. So these benefits are enormous, and not something the Immortal Mist sect can resist. But sir, you need not worry too much. Our Immortal Mist sect has the protection of a 7th order formation, so other Golden Core Masters would need to think twice before invading. Lang Yuexi stated gravely. She had never expected the cave of the bloody shadow ancestor to surface at this time. At this moment, the Immortal Mist sect was at its weakest, with only her as the Golden Core Master. And she was only at the early stage of Golden Core formation. Compared to the well-established Golden Core Masters, her strength was far inferior. In essence, the emergence of the bloody shadow ancestor's cave brings nothing but trouble for the Immortal Mist sect. In that case, you should avoid getting involved to prevent falling into enemy traps. Invading the cave of a nascent soul ancestor is not easy. Zhou Sui warned. He could progress in a structured manner and ascend to a higher realm. He didn't need to compete with other cultivators for treasures from the nascent soul ancestor's cave. Doing so would only put him in danger. Don't worry, sir. I have no intention of entering deep inside the bloody shadow ancestor's cave. At present, the cave is protected by a 4th stage grand formation, likely unbreakable in the short term. Even Golden Core Masters would probably need to attack for decades. Lang Yuexi said. Bear in mind that a 4th stage formation is powerful enough to resist a nascent soul level cultivator. The defensive strength of it can be imagined. Breaking through it forcefully would be like walking into a death trap. Of course, the reason they dared to attack the 4th stage grand formation was that there was no one in control, and this formation was not built upon a 4th stage spirit vein. Formations require energy for activation, too. Normally, powerful formations are built upon spirit veins. By utilizing the power of the spirit vein as the energy source, the formation can be maintained for regular operation. The Immortal Mist Sect's third stage formation is a case in point. Without a spirit vein, spirit stones are needed instead. They plan to keep attacking the fourth stage formation and wear down the energy of the spirit stones inside. Once the energy of the spirit stones is completely depleted, the formation will naturally collapse and disperse. However, if this fourth stage formation was built on a fourth stage spirit vein, even thousands of years of attacks wouldn't be able to breach the formation. Trying to exhaust the spiritual energy of a fourth stage spirit vein is a ludicrous thought. That's why spirit veins are critical. Establishing a sect on a spirit vein not only provides a superior cultivation environment but also greatly enhances the power of the formation and significantly increases security. Having explained all of this, Lang Yuexi left. As the sect master of the Immortal Mist sect, she had many matters to handle. Especially with the emergence of the nascent soul ancestors cave, she would undoubtedly need to accommodate many golden core masters. The emergence of a nascent soul ancestors cave, how fortuitous! Zhou Sui squinted, feeling a sense of urgency welling up within. The sudden occurrence of this event would place the Immortal Mist sect in the firing line. If not careful, the Immortal Mist sect might fall amid this chaos. Even Lang Yuexi, being a golden core master, might not be able to hold against it. But more importantly, is the Bloody Shadow Ancestors Cave really safe? Is there any trap inside? Did the Bloody Shadow Ancestor, a nascent soul cultivator, really die 3,000 years ago? Frankly, there are still many mysteries involved. It all seems as if the entire incident is shrouded in fog. The truth is not clear. But this matter doesn't have much to do with me. Regardless of whether this is a nascent soul ancestors cave or a divinity transformation cave. As long as I do not touch it, any schemes or tricks inside cannot harm me. Within the Immortal Mist sect, protected by the third stage grand formation, not even golden core masters can break in. No, that's not acceptable. I need to be more cautious. If the third stage grand formation is broken and the Immortal Mist sect is destroyed, there would be no escape. If targeted by a golden core master, I wouldn't be able to escape even if I dug a tunnel. Perhaps I need to refine a goo insect that can be used for escape, or even one that allows instant teleportation. In this way, even if the Immortal Mist sect is breached by the enemy, I can escape immediately. Zhou Sui stroked his chin, thinking about his next move and possible escape routes. Although it seemed unlikely now that the Immortal Mist sect would be destroyed, who could predict the future? Without long-term considerations, there will be troubles close at hand. One must always have a contingency plan to stay undefeated.